All right, let's bring on our guest. We've waited long enough. Thank you for waiting. Arshad Hisham, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Pleasure to be here. Hi.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate your time and being willing to come on and talk with us. So you're the founder of iNGen Dynamics. Am I saying that right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, perfect. Well, I would love to hear about your company, of course, and then as an inventor, I want to hear about maybe a specific invention that you'd like to talk about in some detail on our show. So maybe let's go back and talk about the founding of your company.
Sure. Uh, my name is Arshad. I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is actually my fifth company. So I've been doing a couple of other companies in different domains, and my companies have increased in complexity. So I think it started out with software companies, enterprise software, and going all the way to robotics, AI, and automation. So we started out in 2015. It was very early days. AI was not the in thing, not the buzzword as it is now in 2015. And so we were into AI, automation, robotics when it was uncool, so to say. It was pretty
Right.
early for us to be there. And we were fortunate to get a lot of traction. We had a video that went viral. We got picked up by Discovery Channel and Popular Science very early on, our products that we were design. And I think it's been an interesting journey. So our key goal is to improve quality of life for humans with affordable, intuitive, and practical AI automation robotics. And these are very important qualifiers where most of the AI automation robotics companies fail, right? So these are like what we're trying to attempt. And I am an engineer. I'm still an engineer, and I think I started my career with IBM Software Labs. Did some work in robotics way back in college. I'm giving away my age. It was like 25 years back, and I did make some cool robots that played soccer, and wrote a paper on a coherent backpropagation network, which is one of the predecessors to the current AI networks. This was in '97. So I think I did work in. I had a couple of research papers in AI very long back. So yeah, I started this company, and it's been a fantastic journey. We have a range of products for hospitality, healthcare, retail, surveillance, and a couple of interesting reports which are relevant to our company. Is one from McKinsey and OECD, which says that 95% of the jobs in the next 5 years would have at least 70% containing elements of AI automation robotics. So it essentially means that the way jobs are defined are going to change drastically. And I think a lot of the tools and products are going to play an important part in this journey coming in. And I think our company is in the middle of it, and it's exciting times.
What was that? What was that stat again? 90% of companies will have AI robotics.
Yeah, so around 95% of all jobs
Okay.
would have tasks, and 70% of the tasks would have components of AI automation robotics. So I think the way jobs are defined are going to change drastically in the next 5 years. And people are going to learn how to use this new tool. This is like, think of like the pre-computer and post-computer. So I think a lot of the things coming out are the new computers that every job is going to need, right? That's a better way of looking at it. So I think, and this is kind of and this is coming very fast, and you can see some of the magic with AI videos. Like a couple of years back, you had the strange Will Smith video. I don't know if you saw the one with the spaghetti.
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, there's a very strange video. It looks very odd. It looks very goofy, very AI generated. But within a year, it's so good that it actually looks like shot in a Hollywood studio with all perfect physics. So that's the speed at which these things are developing, right? So that's actually going to accelerate in the next 4 years. I'm pretty certain that it's not going to take away jobs. I think it's going to create new jobs. It's going to change the way a lot of jobs are done. And I think it's going to increase human productivity. And again, I'm an optimist. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on the whole AI and robots taking away jobs, right? So I think that's where I think this is headed.
We're going to be all right. We're all going to have at least somewhere
Absolutely.
to be employed. I wanted to show so you've got a website. You're doing some marketing. You're selling, right? So Walk me
Yes.
through what you're doing how do you work with customers?
Sure. So I think we have, this is a restaurant robots. We have a collage of all our products. So there's a restaurant runner, there's an
Right.
origami AI platform, there's a tabletop robot. So we kind of have different products in different stages of development. Some are in R&D, some have hit the market, some have hit early revenue, and some have hit good revenue. We also have an education product. So we kind of started out a couple of engineering degrees based on our products. And
Right.
we're actually skilling people as well. So when people come in, if they need a surveillance product, we actually look at the current surveillance system they're having in their mall, in their business, and we look at the pain points, and we give the AI-enabled layer to make it smarter and better. So this is what we do with the surveillance, and these are like pretty cool. It kind of compares posture to determine if two people are fighting. So I think it can detect if people are fighting from your feeds. It's smart enough to bring up something called a virtual camera. So if you have hundreds of cameras, your main monitor will have only like 9 or 6 feeds where it only shows the relevant events. So it's very smart. And
Okay.
it can be on top of things. So and we onboard them and come in. And then we have the restaurant robots, which does point-to-point delivery. We have the tabletop elderly care unit, which again we're doing several pilots. And I think we have got a fairly good revenue pipeline. We have an $80 million revenue pipeline. So I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
work to be done.
for sure. Well, yeah, that's huge. Well, I mean, and when you said that multiple camera angle thing, my mind went to, I always wonder how the producers at, sports events, right? Football, for example, right? With all the different camera angles, how do they know which one to go with? And especially for replays, I think it's incredible probably how that happens, but perhaps AI could do even better job, with things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's been some fascinating uh, mishaps and goof ups, with players' heads being, detected to be a ball and stuff like that. So I think there's a
I
lot of,
see. Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Well, yeah. The example you just gave about the Will Smith, I mean, how far can things improve in a
yes,
year's time?
yes.
I think it's wonderful. So, well, let's get a little bit more granular with respect to patents and all of this AI, and perhaps maybe just pick one that may come to mind you'd like to talk about. And I think it's really relevant. One that I'd love to get to is I get this question once in a while where it's like, you know what, our industry is moving so fast, forget about patents. Do you worry about that? Do you think how does that play into your decision making as to investing in IP?
Yeah, I think patents are very important, and I think it's kind of a bare minimum. You need to have it protected. I don't think you can build a company on patent alone,
Right.
but I think it would be very foolish to build a lot of stuff and don't have patents to protect it, right? So I think that's a right balance. And I think for us, we have design patents for our tabletop robots, which contains the interlocking mechanism. It's a modular unit. It's like a bionic lock. And I think we spend a lot of time on design, and interaction design is not the way it looks, it's the way it works and feels, right? So I think there's a lot of components that we've designed, which I feel is very unique. And when people try to copy it, I think we always hold that design patent. And I think, there are things that makes it harder for people to kind of copy and and get out. But I think this is kind of an important thing people needs to be aware of is that patents are like moats. I think it's a line of defense if you're getting attacked on some of these points, but it is not on its own. You can't build a company around it until and unless your end goal is to sell 100 patents to Apple for
Right.
HP or for
Yeah,
IBM.
so
That's a different strategy, right? Until unless you have that, then you need to look at and you need to figure out, and that's why I think we need to get expert help because it's so tough for the inventor. He'll be in his own world. He'll be looking at what he's doing from his own perspective. You need outside help so you can have a fresh perspective, get inputs from experts. It's very important to get help.
wonderful. And by the way, I did not talk with Arshad before that. I did not pay him to say that patents were important. I love that. I also want to talk to a couple of things there. I want to definitely talk about design versus utility patents. But before I go there, you mentioned defense. So have you had to fend off or enforce your patent rights at all at this point for iNGen?
We had to send a couple of cease and desist.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
not an outright. We just had to warn some people off, and I think it did help.
Good.
We hold.
It scared them off. Enough. There was no court, no filings,
Yeah.
no
Yes.
claims made.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we had a couple of them, and our product had such good aesthetics that we were picked up by Walt Disney to be showcased in one of the. So I think we did have a lot of copycats coming out with similar colors, similar eyes, similar curves, right? It did
Right.
crop up a lot. So the design pattern was kind of relevant at that time to kind of protect what we're building.
Yeah.
So we did, yeah. And I feel issuing a cease and desist and having a paper trail of something concrete behind you fends off 95% of the people who are trying to kind of get in your way, right? So
Sure.
this is, I think, the right way to use it.
Yeah, it's sort of the threat of what could be future litigation.
Yeah.
And so the focus on design is interesting. I think it's fantastic. You bring it up. I think especially with some of these really big names, you mentioned Disney, where that's what people see. Is there a strategy behind the scenes where you're actually keeping trade secrets behind the enclosures instead of going after utility patents? And for those that don't know, real quickly, a utility patent can be much broader in terms of its protection, covering the functionality of what something does, but can be certainly more difficult and expensive to acquire a broad set. Whereas design patents, as Arshad explained, covers just the aesthetics and the feel, the form, and the fit, and the shape, of course. But it really stops there. So tell us, is there some other strategy at play here, or more of kind of a hybrid cost savings in a way too?
Yeah, I think it's also a function of the way we've done development. And I think we had several provisional patents filed, which we had several. So I think, and when, as you know, with provisional patents, when you change direction, you kind of redo and, it kind of goes in a different direction, right? So we did have that. And we were trying to identify what is the best utility pattern. So I think there is a whole it's not that we do have a plan. We actually have a patent plan. So we do have a patent plan of how we can do and roll the whole thing out. And even had, I think it's called the patent highway, where you can take it internationally to a UK patent office and everything, right? How we can take it from the US, get protection, and take it in the UK, which all countries you want to go. What are the different rights you're having? So we did do pretty good deep study on it. So we do have a plan. So we do have provisional patents and we do have utility patents coming down the line. But one of the reasons we consciously are not aggressively, the provisional patent, again, you're the expert here, would probably give a 3-year protection and I think there is a recent change from first to file to something else from the USPT office. I think it's very recent.
Oh yeah, no, it's almost 10 years ago. A lot changed. So it used to be first to invent, and there were all these battles about who invented it first with documents proving. Now it's whoever files first. So that's how the rest of the world does it. With respect to international applications, they're on the utility side. You can file two types of domestic apps here in the US, either provisional, which will probably do just 1 year of time, and then a non-provisional, which is the formal version. That's what must be filed within that year on the utility side. And then on the utility side, going international, it's called the Patent Cooperation Treaty, PCT. And that's a way to sort of save money in terms of not having every country do their own search. One search is performed on behalf of the whole world, and then each country recognizes that. And there's a big benefit there. On the design side, quickly, it's called the Hague Agreement, HAGUE, also under the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. In a similar way, industrial designs, they're called, can be registered in various countries in the same way, and you can save a lot of time and money, especially if you wait, and see what the U.S. examiner says. If they give it a thumbs up, it's almost a rubber stamp, approval from the other countries.
Sure. So thanks for that. And I think, just want to we do have a plan. So I think it's called the Patent Prosecution Highway. I'm not sure what it's called. That is how it's kind of.
Nice. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go. Well, you've got a good plan then, it sounds like, and competent counsel as well. For you to be able to list that off, that tells me you've been listening, you've got good counsel. That's great.
Sure.
But it sounds like you've not yet had to go into federal court to defend any patents yet, which is good, but you've gone as far as sending letters, which is also very good. I guess in the next couple minutes here, I'd like to talk about the future of your company and where things are going to go for you and iNGen in the next, say, just 2 years, not looking too far ahead. What do you see happening with products you're developing, the work you're selling? What are some things that you'd like to see come to fruition?
Sure. I think there is a lot of our products that getting a lot of traction. So we're going to see more market penetration in all these new use cases we are developing for sure.
Okay.
We have new form factors coming out, which you have already seen. We do have humanoids coming down the line from our company.
Yeah.
So we do have humanoids and autonomous rovers, which are coming out outdoors. So this is another thing that we're developing.
That's cool. On the humanoid side, do you have a product that we could show off or give a link to? Anything yet?
Not yet. Not yet. It's still under development. So we do have the brain. We call it the Origami AI platform.
Okay.
So we've been developing the brain from 2015. So it's the same brain that's going to power all electronics, right? So the brain is under development, and then we'll get into the mechanical side and
that's
build out
the Origami AI.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Very interesting. So a lot of different functionality. My goodness. Wow.
Yes. So that's why it's called the Origami AI, because you can repurpose it to different form factors, just like origami. So you can make different products out of it.
Yeah. I haven't heard of this. Is this a term you've coined, or is this a third party, Magnus?
No, this is our AI automation robotics blockchain. This is for the robots and products to communicate to blockchain. So we do have a blockchain component which we built. Right?
Wow.
So
very big. So. Excellent. Well, for those that are, I know we didn't get any live questions today, but those that may be watching, maybe that are way early in their entrepreneur adventure, maybe where you were 20, 25 years ago, any lessons learned, anything you'd like to pass along to, individuals, engineers that are curious about, gosh, how do I get started in, building my own company? Any kind of words of the wisdom there?
Sure. I think 2 points that will come to my mind. The first one is that I think being resilient is way, way more important than being smart or intelligent or hardworking, right?
Say again, talking more?
You need to be resilient. You need to you'll get beaten down very frequently. You need to stand up and fight again.
There we go.
Again, right?
Okay.
So that's 10x more important than anything else.
Just grow some thick skin, right? Get used to no, and then keep on going. Persistence.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay.
Absolutely. So that's kind of way at the top. And the second thing is that the people that you recruit hire for attitude, not skill. So I think this is again another hard lesson. I think hire for attitude, who can gel with your culture. So these are the 2 things that I think many new entrepreneurs overlook because they come out fresh with a lot of new ideas and everything, and they overlook this. So this is what I would like to highlight for anybody starting out. And the third is hang in there. It's a long journey, but it's worth it. The journey is a reward.
Yes. It's great.